Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for tuning in early. Thought we'd open with a little Bob today. I don't know about everybody else, but I always feel better and get in a better mood when I listen to Bob Marley. Just as good as it gets. So I thought today would be a Bob day. Well, welcome to Ask Our Vet, live from the Earth Animal Studios. This is the 21st episode, or week 20 to week 21. So it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. Oh, thanks, Morg. My favorite time of the week too. Anyway, I know you guys saw the teaser before. We did tease that I might have a little in-studio guest today, which I do. But we were going to do a little. We were going to start off with, as much as I hate it, I got to stop the Bob. We're going to start off with a little guessing game. So if anybody, I have a critter with me today, a cool little animal, and I thought maybe people could just throw out a few guesses early. And you can just kind of guess on, just throw them in, and we'll wait a couple minutes, and I'll reveal what I have. I think you guys will really will enjoy it. Hey, Karen. Thanks for tuning in. Anyway, welcome. A couple things today. We're going to start out with a COVID update, all right, as we always do, and then we're going to get into questions, the Ask Me Anything, which is really my favorite shows because it's the most interactive, and I think we get some really good questions from the viewers. And hold on, sweetheart, hold on. So I'm looking forward to today. One quick note, Sue, I know last week I had told you to email me, and you did. I read your email, and then promptly my computer crashed and I lost it, and so I don't have your return email. So if you could re-email me again so I can get back to you about your question, that would be great. So Chris at Earth Animal. Okay, Sue, thanks. Sorry about that, but I lost it and I couldn't get it back. All right. I think the other thing to talk about just quickly before we talk about COVID today is, all of our thoughts, and certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the people in Louisiana and Texas with the awful weather that's going on down there. So hopefully it's not as bad as they predicted. I know some stuff is coming through now, but it's early reports. So certainly we wish everybody down there the best, right? And the last thing we need on top of a epidemic or a pandemic is really foul weather hitting the U.S. So anyway, let's see. I don't know if anybody's, let me go down here. Good guess, not a porcupine, Sue. Good guess. Karen, wow, out of the gate. Yeah, so let's reveal what I have with me today. Let's say hi. Oh boy. You say hi? This is Clover. So Clover is a 3.5-month-old skunk. See your tail. Let's flip you over. Oh, I know. Look at this tail. Huh? This bushy tail, right? Anyway, Clover belongs to one of our technicians, Kristen, at the hospital. Clover's a domesticated skunk, right? She's not a wild skunk, obviously. She's spayed and she's descented, although I will tell you that she still has a little bit of a pew. Don't you? You have a pew? It's just amazing how just cool and docile these creatures are. You're okay. And she's wonderful. She's really, really cool. So good guess, Karen. Great job. And we were talking last week. I thought one of the things to bring up, look how cute. One of the things to bring up is that, skunks are omnivores. Remember last week we were doing dentition and teeth, in animals. And so we were talking about, omnivores, dogs, 42 teeth. We were talking about carnivores, cats, 30 teeth. They have more, they're omnivores. They have less teeth than dogs, but more than cats. They have 34 teeth. And what's really cool, and I don't know if she'll let us look. She may not. I know you're a little nervous. She has, what's cool when you look at the different, teeth of animals, right? Now, skunks in the wild, right? They're meant for digging. Look at the claws that she has. You know, these guys, again, are in the weasel family, right? So look at the feet and the claws that she has and her feet. She's really strong, too. I mean, you can see her moving around. Look at those back feet. Even though they do smell a little like corn chips, but very cool. Great for digging. Look at the size of the claws. So they're digging after worms and grubs and things. And she has, when you compare her incisors in the front to other animals, right, to even dogs and cats, they're almost elongated. And you know, what I would guess is the reason for that is because they have to, when they're digging, they have to go in and pull small things out, right? Like I said, grubs and worms, and they have to have the tools to do that. And I'm always amazed at, you know, evolution and how animals you know, over the years just have the tools for what they need. I just think it's wild. So again, Clover, she is really, really cool. So Kristen uses her for educational programs for kids and adults. She has through her Jungle Jamboree business, and she has loads of really cool animals that she likes to talk about. But she's been with us a couple of weeks, a few weeks actually. She had a little rough start. She had some respiratory stuff, right? But you've gotten over it and you're good. Anyway, I thought you guys would like to see her. I think she's really cool. Let's see who signed in. Hey, Gretchen, how are you? Yeah, she is nice. She is very nice. Yet, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous how cute she is. And she's also really active right now, as you can see. So climbing around, huh? Here, see if you lay like this, huh? We'll give you scratches. Anyway, so let's get on with the show today. We're gonna put you away for a little while. Maybe you can come back out at the end, okay? Go ahead, sweetheart. Go ahead. Good job. Okay. So just a cool guest today, right? Yeah. So Catherine, no, doesn't give a lot of kisses, but she is affectionate. She likes to, funny, yeah, cute kitty, right, Joe? And she doesn't really give too many kisses, but she does play. She has a little teddy that's over here, and she'll play with it, and she bounces around. If you watch them, they really do move like ferrets or weasel family. They kind of bounce around. Anybody who's ever had a ferret or you've seen, they kind of bounce, and they bounce sideways and they flip around. She shakes her tail. I think the other thing that's interesting about them is anybody who's ever had a dog or cat that has needed their anal glands expressed. I know it's a gross subject, but or you've seen them, dragging it home, and then you smell, an awful smell. Their scent glands are really just almost identical to the anal glands in our pets, our companion animals. I mean, our companion animals really don't use them for anything, but you'll even see, sometimes if you have a scared animal at the clinic or you see an animal get startled at home, they will express those glands. It's very, very similar to what skunks do. But she's descented and she's spayed. So just a little bit of a pew, but not too bad. All right, I see we started getting questions just quickly. COVID update today, right? As we get back into school here, we're coming back in the fall, whether it's hybrid or full-time or different schools doing different things. And colleges going back with more, obviously much more people going to one area than a lot of the schools. You're starting to see a spike in COVID. Okay, so and that's expected. Okay, just for example, I saw University of Alabama, right, 38,000 students on different campuses. The first week in, I believe they had 500 plus positive cases. And the worry with that is they're all in a kind of enclosed environment, right? While that seems for 38,000 like a relatively low number, we just hope that doesn't climb from there, okay? And we hope that these kids recover quickly and get through it. So I think we expect to see that. Just the hope is that when we're going back to these hybrid school models, that we don't really start to spike and then have to go back to full-time homeschooling again. I really, really hope that. And obviously, Clover is our Earth Animal of the Week. I mean, how could she not be? You look at her. Anyway, so let's start with our questions. All right, Gretchen. So first question. We're talking to Gretchen asks, what dog food would you recommend for a super picky, only human food eater? Right. So I know, Gretchen, one of the things that we've talked about over the last few weeks is that we really try to pick, there's not, like I said, very individual for different animals, right? I don't think there's specifically one exact kind of food for for each, for just in general, but you pick certain foods for different animals based on age and size, and, pickiness is one, right? I know that you and I had a quick conversation. You had talked about Dr. Harvey's, where they give you part of the food, right? It comes and you add the protein source to it, right? And that's definitely an option for Buddy. I think one of the things that you will find is that just to say that we've been testing the wisdom food that's coming out in the middle of September. We've been testing the wisdom food, or I have, with some picky eaters specifically, okay, just to see, and the palatability has shown to be off the charts. Now, you can't get that just yet. It will be coming out, but it is testing very, very palatable. And so that's another option when it comes out. So I think when you went to the store, I think they did give you good advice. So it's something to follow. I know that Buddy can be a little bit picky, so but I think either one of those would be okay. Something to think about with the wisdom, like I said, when it comes out. Oh yeah, and so Gretchen, I know Buddy doesn't always like to get out of the car places, so that's amazing. So you got there and he just jumped right out and went in. Well, I mean, he probably looked at it and said, this is definitely a place for me, right? It's not only beautiful, but it has wonderful things inside. So, all right, Stephanie, sorry I jumped on your question already. So the wisdom's coming out in a month. They're going to do regional, initially, because obviously they have to ramp up production. So they're going to do, it's going to be a regional rollout. It will be in the Northeast to start. Okay. And I'm like I've told you guys before, we're trialing it with some picky eaters, some other animals with some, that had previous skin and intestinal problems, and it's trialing really, really well. Okay. So anyway, so I think that again, we'll start looking for it in mid-September. And that's another good thing. I'm going to do a dedicated show on it, so I think in 3 weeks, we're going to do a dedicated show. I thought we'd, obviously, do it when it came out. And I'm going to talk all about it. I'm going to break down the ingredients, how it's made. And I think everybody's going to be really impressed. I've been extremely impressed with it, feeding my own animal, and the feedback that I'm getting from my clients. So, Heather, you know what? I know you said you missed Clover. That's okay. We'll get Clover out again here. I knew Clover. I would hold her for the whole show, but it's a little bit hard to concentrate and keep juggling her around. So I will definitely bring her back out, I promise. All right. Kristen, I just posted a great review of your hide-free chews, the no hides, right? In response to a Costco carried knockoff version, no comparison. And I found out, like others in the Labrador Facebook group, the generic version actually made our pups sick quickly. Well, thank you very much for that testimonial, and that's always good. Yes, that, again, when we talk about revolutionary things, the no hides are just off the chart, right? Highly digestible, that's what's great about them. Obviously rawhide free, and really just, my dogs love them. And they're just, they are great. So thank you for the testimonial. So, Geraldine, that's a great question, right? So, Geraldine's asking, is it better to rotate protein sources every few months for my pets, right? Lamb, chicken, fish. And I will tell you, Geraldine, that you're going to get different answers with different people that you talk to. So, I'm going to give you my opinion, okay? Now, this isn't steadfast and 100%, but for the most part, one of the things that we always talk about with animals and people, okay, we always talk about the whole eat to live and live to eat, right? That animals eat to live, right? And sometimes people feel like, just like we crave variety as people. We like to change up. We like to do different things, eat different things. So we don't, so obviously we don't get bored with what we're eating, or. And in reality with animals, sometimes variety can have a negative impact, GI-wise, okay? Sometimes if you're bouncing back and forth, you can precipitate changes in gut flora, you can get, acute gastritis and things like that. I know that there are some people that say, well, we want to rotate so they don't get allergic. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think that if you have an animal that's doing well on a food and is thriving on it, I don't really recommend. I also think, changing it. I also think that a lot of people have, when you introduce a lot of variety, oftentimes it will induce pickiness, because I think what happens is they're kind of looking for the next thing, and sometimes it's, kind of, if they don't know something, if they don't know that there's a different taste out there, that they can be just as happy with what they're eating. So I don't think they need the variety, but I do know the principle, and I think you'll get different answers to that. But that's kind of my feeling anyway. I've had animals that have, even allergic animals that we've found the right food for, that stayed on that for years and years and that have thrived and done well. So I do try to keep my animals anyway on if they're doing well on a food. Now it's different if they're not, right? But if they're doing well on food, I'd like to keep them on the same food. Judy, my dog likes eating grass. She's on a raw diet and doesn't seem to have any digestive distress. Should I be concerned? The eating grass thing, obviously it's kind of it's something that I grew up on believing, right? When I was young, and our dogs would go out and eat grass, and they would come in and vomit it on the floor or something else, and my mother would say, oh, they must have an upset stomach because they're eating grass. And I think that is a bit of a wives' tale, right? There's certain times a year that you'll see animals eating more grass than others, right? Kind of in the spring or in the summer, when you get these kind of new shoots that come up. My dogs do it. Some dogs will eat it more year round. I don't always believe that they're craving something, that they necessarily need the chlorophyll, or they're craving they've lost something in their food. If they're on a well-balanced food and they're otherwise healthy, generally that's not the case. I think people believe a lot of times that they have gastric distress because they vomit it up, but the fact is, if they eat enough grass, it's indigestible fiber, so it's going to make them sick. So that sometimes is a little bit of a chicken and the egg thing, right? But you don't necessarily have to be concerned unless you're seeing other problems. And I find with my dogs, when we, my son cuts the lawn, right? And if the lawn gets a little too high, they will start to eat it. If it's low and we don't have those kind of new shoots, they generally don't do it. So, and so the answer is not necessarily, unless you're seeing other things. All right. All right, Gretchen, I'll keep that in mind, right? Yeah, so Karen asked, what are signs that your dog is in pain? Concerned about Roxy, her adopted dog, who's super cute, about Roxy's back legs. And yeah, it's, just like in people, right? Pain response with pets varies in the signs that they show. And there's a lot of different factors to that. One being how stoic they are. Some animals show pain more than others. You would be, and maybe someday we can get some. We're actually looking into some actually dedicated studio equipment where we'll be able to do more on the board and things like that. And maybe it will be great one day to go through some x-rays. I think that'd be a great show. And just to show different orthopedic things and show chest x-rays. And I think that'd be something that people would be interested in. But but anyway, if you, I'll have a dog that comes in, say, and is not limping, and we're taking X-rays for a different reason. Say this dog had some gastric issues, and we wanted to take abdominal, lower abdominal X-rays, right? Well, typically you take two views on an X-ray. You take a lateral X-ray where you're looking, on their side, on their right side, and then you take what they call ventral dorsal where they're on their back and you're looking that way. And obviously you see all the structures, not just the inside of the abdomen, but you see the spine and you see the hips oftentimes, depending on your positioning. And you'd be surprised about how many animals that come in that not even limping or have any signs, and you look at their hips and they have really bad hip dysplasia. Okay, and then there's other animals that will come in, they're limping, and you'll look and they have some mild changes, but those are causing them. So one of the factors is how stoked they are. The other thing is that pain in animals can show through sometimes panting, right? Panting is a sign that they could be in discomfort. It's not always, panting doesn't always mean that. It could mean other things, but panting's one. And the other thing too, Karen, is sometimes it's a structural issue where they may have a structural issue getting around, but they're not necessarily in a great deal of pain. And I think we do have to, you want to make sure obviously they're eating well and they're happy and they're bright and all those things. And I think those go towards them feeling good. But if they have pre-existing conditions that we want to always be cognizant of managing that, even if maybe they don't show it as much. So, it's something for us to talk about, right? All right, let's see. Maureen. All right, Maureen. How are you, Maureen? Thanks for tuning in. So Maureen is asking, what are the vaccines that a puppy really needs? And what vaccination do you need to fly with a puppy? So kind of a couple different questions here, right, Maureen? So the first is, what vaccines do puppies really need? Well, so typically puppy vaccinations, and again, we could take up a whole show on this, so I'll try to be brief, but typically the vaccines that puppies get as their kind of staple vaccine is what they call the distemper vaccine. But in fact, there's distemper in it. The base vaccine has distemper in it, hepatitis, parvovirus, and parainfluenza. They're four big viruses, right? And usually what happens with puppies, and one of the things that the kind of the target with, when you have a mother that's been vaccinated, okay, she passively passes on antibodies to these diseases oftentimes to her puppies through milk, okay? And generally those wane, I should say, towards the time of weaning and towards about 8 weeks. And that's generally when you would vaccinate. Usually the first vaccines are given, okay? Now, there's a lot of debate on how many. There's a lot of debate on, when and what intervals you give it. But those are generally, but those are also vaccines that you can then titer down the road. Like I said, I believe in mixed medicine for sure. I've been lucky enough to now continue to study with Bob Goldstein, who is just, obviously my mentor and just a wealth of knowledge. So we do have discussions about this all the time, but I do believe in puppy vaccinations because we want them. These are big viruses, and some of them obviously can be deadly, right? So I do believe in vaccinations of puppies for things like that, and rabies as well, which comes down the road a little bit. Puppies, so the vaccinations you need to fly with a puppy is depending on their age, right? You don't vaccinate puppies with rabies until they're over 12 weeks. So if they're under 12 weeks, they cannot have a rabies and they can fly. If they're over that, they do generally need to, because it is law to fly. Okay. And then, I am like we've talked about in the past, I think you have to take every individual animal, every individual dog, every individual cat. You have to see what their risks are, and then you have to develop protocols for that. All right. And, I've said this now, when we've talked about vaccines, we do have to do a dedicated show on that. We can go through the things. I am very judicious in my vaccine protocols. Any of my clients know that. And so I'm a firm believer in vaccinated by need, okay? All right, Finn, let's see. Hi, Finn. Thanks for watching. How do I know if my gecko is overweight? Well, I think, generally, Finn, that's probably something that I'd have to look at. Look at your gecko to see. You can take a look at them, what their body condition is. It's just like any other animal. When you look at them, are they well fleshed? Do they look like they're carrying too much weight, or can you see too many of their bones? Are they too light? So it's something that I think with a gecko like that, I'd have to take a look. So I'll tell you what, next time I'm over, and I haven't even met your gecko yet, so I do want to meet your gecko. All right. All right, so look at that. So you'll be able to get the wisdom on the website. That's great. Okay, D. Hi, D. Hi, Lola. Hi, Dr. Chris. How do I get Lola to drink more water? She hardly goes to the bowl. I refill several times a day so it's cold. I do add a quarter cup of water to her food to saturate, and she will lap that up. But that's about all she takes in per day. So there are different tricks. I think adding water to the food is one. All right. I think the other thing too is some animals do well with those fountains. Okay, the fountains, because they kind of circulate the water. Now, some of them play with it. So I have found that in my house, we've had those fountain. The fountains before, and our cat just can't deal with it and just smacks it all over the place, and the water goes all over the floor. So, but it's something that sometimes can entice him to do that. I think adding water to the food is a big one. In times where there's sicker things, we will do things like add low sodium chicken broth to it to help them hydrate themselves. And so it's something you can do a little bit. Obviously you don't want that to sit out for a long period of time, but you can do something like that. Always low sodium though. But I think what you're doing in adding water to the food is always a good thing, because you know that they're going to be getting more. All right. Okay, so let's see. All right, Jen, my cats have had feline herpes for quite some time. Recently, Tigger has developed pillow foot. It doesn't appear like he's in pain, but they are very swollen and discolored. Our vet saw him about a month ago over it and gave him a steroid shot, but it doesn't look like they've gotten much better. What can cause it, and how do I get things back to normal? So, Jen, a couple questions. Are you seeing this swelling on all 4 feet, or certain ones? Okay. Are you seeing any discharge from the nails, from the pads or anything, or are you just seeing swelling at those sites? And you said he wasn't in pain. Is he having any trouble ambulating, jumping around, anything like that? And are you seeing any eye stuff with Tigger, or chronic nasal stuff or anything else? Just if you could answer that, and we'll swing back. All right. You're welcome, Karen. And we'll talk, obviously, Karen. Yeah, it always, Judy, to get back to your point with the grasses, it's something that drives everybody crazy, right? Because they go out, especially the ornamental grasses. We actually got this year 4 brand new hostas to put in one of our flower beds, and we literally took the hostas, put them in their temporary pots, and laid them out, and went to go get the garden tools to put them in. And my Sadie, my adopted dog, who I always talk about, came through within 5 minutes and mowed them all down, chewed them up, it literally ruined in 5 minutes. So yeah, it can make you crazy for sure. I couldn't believe how fast she got through it and through all of them. Anyway, so yeah, and it happens to us all. All right, Jennifer, my 125-pound Mastiff was recently diagnosed with fungal yeast infection of the ear and the skin. She had recently taken antibiotics for an interdigital paw cyst. Did the antibiotics trigger the fungal infection, or Or is she, oh, I just went up, sorry. Or is she just warm from the summer heat? She doesn't have rolls or redundant tissue. What can I do to prevent future recurrences? Okay, so a few layers to this question, right? Jen, this time of year, in the middle of, so we've got a few things going on, right? We're in the middle of allergy season. It's been hot and humid. And one of the things you have to realize, just like people, everybody has bacteria, yeast, and things on their skin at all times, right? It's just a matter of if you have a break in the skin or if you have something else going on that you'll get a flare up of one or the other, right? Typically what dogs get this time of year, they get interdigital cysts, like you said, because what they're doing is they're licking their feet because of allergies, like we talked about with the pollen. It becomes a contact allergy. They lick their feet. They cause breaks in their skin. Which introduces bacteria, and they get these little interdigital cysts, or sometimes big, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many currently animals I'm treating with that. And the cysts really do, oftentimes we do prescribe antibiotics for the cysts. One, they're on the paws, it's a dirty area, and they can get pretty infected. So that's something that I use a lot. We also use things like foot soaks, which we'll get back to in a second. So likely the antibiotics in this case, and we all know that can happen, but likely in this case it was probably just opportunistic, what they call Malassezia yeast, okay? And it really, I mean, we're dealing with so much of that right now. It's the pollen counts are off the charts. These guys are licking their feet, and and they can transfer obviously from their chin to their paw, to the paw to their chin. I just had a dog yesterday that had that. And so really what it is trying to manage their allergies, knowing these things can crop up. There are certain things that you can soak their feet in and clean their feet when they come in. And sometimes that'll help. And then doing things to minimize allergies, which there's numerous things. So I think it becomes a bit of a domino effect, right? So you have one, and then it snowballs, kind of a vicious cycle. And it's something that we see this time of year. It's unbelievable how many cases we see. Yeah, Jen. Okay, so it's all 4 feet, Jen says, and we're getting back to the pillow foot. No issues getting around. He has some eye discharge, sneezing. I was going to mention lysine, so I'm glad you're giving that. Let's see. Yeah, so I was going to recommend the lysine as well. Jen, I would, if you can, and I don't know if you can, I don't know if you have pictures of it, but would you do me a favor and send me some pictures of the feet to my email, all right? And I'll get back to you, okay? I want to take a look at if you can do it from the top and the bottom, that would be great, if you can get it. So it's Chris, Kris, at earthanimal.com, all right? All right. Yeah, Judy, that's great. Hi to Sadie. So Connor, thank you. And thank you, Brett. Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have soccer or anything you could be doing? But anyway, thank you for tuning in. All right, let's see. Let's see for the people that tuned in later. Let's see if what do you think, Clover? You want to come out and visit? Come on, sweetheart. Come on, babe. Come on. I know. Come on. All right, Clove. Come on. Good girl. Come on. All right. There you are. You want to say hi? Here, come here. You want to say hi to people? Huh? It's okay. It's okay. Say hi to who hadn't seen you yet. Oh, my God. Say hi to everybody. There you go, Marilee. Please. But look again at those feet and look at how those claws are made for digging, right? Unbelievable. What are you doing? Really cute, right? And usually so right now she wants, she has a ton of energy. She slept for a while, and so she really, did you also poop in the carrier? You did. Well, so much for not being stinky. Anyway, Yeah, she is great. And she really, stay right here. What do you think? You could say hi to everybody. Look at that face. So I think the other thing about these guys that's really cool is that if you notice, see how small their eyes are? Their vision is really terrible, but look how long their face is and how big their nose is, right? They have an unbelievable sense of smell. So, and that's how they greet the world, right? Yes. Right? So that's cool. Are you gonna stay still? A little bit? She's super cute. I can't tell you how snooshy she is when she's not climbing around being crazy. She's playful. She's really fun. And I think, look, these aren't obviously pets for everybody, right? The reason why Kristen has these is it's great to go out in a community and show people that, people have this stigma about skunks that, oh my God, they're aggressive and they, you don't go near wild skunks. Besides being sprayed, you don't. This is a domesticated skunk, and it's important. And these guys aren't pets for everybody. Kristen, again, has a USDA license, and she does educational programs. That's why she has her. I just thought it would be cool to show you, and just show you how docile she is, really, besides being crazy. So, Michael, it's a good question. She's not really around. We haven't put her around any dogs. She comes to the clinic a lot, but obviously I'm not going to put her. I don't want, God forbid, I don't want her on the, I know, what are you doing? I don't want her on the floor. So I don't know that. I think she would be a little bit afraid, probably run away. Look at her back feet. Pretty cool, huh? Show her your back feet. Show her your toes. Show everybody your toes. Okay. Good girl. All right. Any other questions anybody has before we do the quiz question? Hey Candace, happy Thursday. You think she'd like Susan Morgan, your cat? Well, she might. I think they might play. All right. So I'm going to go back. We were talking about it earlier, right? And I'm going to, play off of last week again. All right. So at the beginning, I mentioned that these guys, remember we talked about last week we talked about different eaters, right? We talked about carnivores and omnivores. First person that tells me what kind of eater a skunk is wins the $100 gift certificate to their favorite local retailer. All right. Right? What kind of eater are you? Oh, you're welcome, Heather. There's usually a little delay in this, so we'll wait. What are you doing? You're very active right now, aren't you? You stay here or no? What do you smell? What do you smell? You made a mess in the carrier, by the way. We'll have to deal with that after the show. All right, I think Heather, omnivore, you got it. Good job, Heather, I believe, unless I missed it. Heather, you're the winner. Great job. Great job. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me this week again. I'm really enjoying it. I love these. They're interactive. Great questions today. All right. Good job, Mike. Anyway, so next week's topic, right? Next week's topic, we're going to talk about kind of back to school. So we're getting back in, we're phasing into a little bit of normalcy, right? Albeit different than, past, but it's kind of our new normal. So, but it's a change, right? So back to work for some people, again, maybe a couple days a week. Back to school, maybe a couple days a week, but now our pets have had us home all this time. So what I thought we'd talk about next week is easing the transition back to our new normal for our pets. All right. I think it's topical. It's a good one. I hope to see everybody there. I want everyone to have a really safe and healthy weekend. As we came in with Bob Marley, I think, all right, hold on, Clover. As we came in with Bob, I think we'll go out with Bob. All right? All right. Can never, ever go wrong with Bob. All right, everybody. Hope I didn't miss any questions. Thanks for the interaction. And thanks for watching. So tune in next week, right? I think I won't have Clover next week probably, but thanks for watching. Bye.